Most people don't know these tricks, but they are so ingenious that everyone really should know them. Find out how they work and how they can help you enormously in everyday life in this short video. Get ready for some incredible secrets. Or did you know that if you have spread some ketchup or mayo on a surface, you should never just wipe it off with a paper towel, as you will just rub it off. Instead, you need a breadboard as well as a paper towel. Now place this around the board as you can see here. Now you should approach the stain and push the breadboard forwards while pulling the paper towel backwards. Then, as you can see here, you can simply wipe up the entire stain. And if you need to use your mixer for a little longer but don't have a food processor to do it all by itself, just do the following. Grab your oven rack and attach the blender to it, as you can see here. This means that the bars go through the bottom. Because now you just have to switch the machine on and you have a homemade food processor. The mixer turns by itself and you no longer have to hold it. And have you ever had the problem that when you used a pastry brush like this, you just splash the oil everywhere because the bristles are just too long? The secret tip for this is to simply cut off the bristles. So grab a pair of scissors and shorten them by at least half, because in most cases they are far too long. And by doing this, you are more likely to ensure that you really spread the oil everywhere. If you have now shortened it, you can see that you can still spread the oil very well, but it no longer splashes around wildly. And I now use this incredible trick every time, because if you want to open a jar like this, you know that it's relatively heavy. All you need to open the whole thing is some cling film. Simply tear off a piece, wrap it around the lid and open the jar. This will give you a much better grip and you won't slip, and it will be easier to open even if you don't have that much strength. If you fried something in your pan and there's still some oil in here, what should you do with it? Of course, you should never just pour it down your drain. Instead, you can do the following. Take the plug out of the drain, grab some aluminum foil and push it down your drain. Make sure it's not broken, because now you can simply tip the hot oil in here after cooking. Wait until it has cooled down. Then take all four corners of the aluminum foil, wrap it up a little at the top so that it is really completely sealed, and you can now dispose of the whole thing directly in the household waste. If you have cardboard packaging like this for breakfast cereal or pasta or something else, for example, you'll know the problem too. Once you've opened it, it's always open somehow. Some packaging still has devices that allow you to close it to some extent, but even these don't usually hold very well. But there is an ingenious trick for this. First, press the two outer flaps inwards once and then press the shorter side inwards too. Now press both corners inwards in the middle so that you can press them together a little, as you can see here. Because now there is only one step left and you have completely closed the packaging again. All you have to do now is push the other flap into the gap at the top. Now you can push the whole thing shut, and as you can see, it really is completely closed. And even if we tip it over, nothing can fall out. And you can also open it again very easily. This trick made me wonder why I hadn't thought of it before. Because if you've cooked some pasta or something like that, you know the problem of wanting to tip the water out. If you simply hold the lid at an angle, you may burn yourself, or the lid may fall straight back into the pot. Or worse still, it may fall out while you are tipping the whole thing down. But all you need to fix the problem is a toothpick. Stick it into the side of the pot. The lid is now really tight and you can tip the whole thing off really quickly and easily, and then remove the toothpick again. And you've just successfully tipped out the water. If you have bags like this in your freezer, you should never cut them open along their entire length. Instead, you should cut a small U shape. This means that the individual corners on the right and left remain long, and you only cut out a small corner in the middle, as you can see here, because now you can take something out of the bag and then grab both corners and quickly and easily tie a knot in them. This makes it really bomb-proof in the packaging, and even if you turn it over, nothing can fall out and you can store it in your freezer without any problems. I couldn't believe how easy this trick was. When you get food delivered in bags like this, do you always tear them open completely because you just can't get the knot open? There is a really ingenious and very simple method for this. Simply wrap these two ribbons tightly, as you can see here. Now you can push them inwards towards the knot, and as you can see here, you can open the knot really quickly and easily. All you have to do is push it apart, fiddle it apart once, and you have opened the bag in seconds. You don't have to tear it, and you can even continue to use it afterwards. But this incredible trick really changes everything. You should take a piece of paper towel, tear it off, and then place it on your stove. But be careful, you'll get some important information in a moment. Simply place the whole thing on the stove, place your pot or pan on top, switch on the stove, and then fry or boil what you want to cook. The advantage is that your stove will never get dirty again. But be careful, this only works if you have an induction hob. This is because the hob itself does not get hot. This prevents the paper towel from starting to burn. At the end, you can simply take your food off the stove, remove the paper towel, and as you can see in my case, it's not even burnt. This can be very helpful, especially if you are frying something, as all the dirt now stays on this cloth and no longer on the stove, so you never have to clean it again. If you want to use a sour cream pot, a yogurt pot, or a quark pot for cooking, you know the problem too. You don't feel like spooning out the entire contents because it's very tedious. But when you tip it over the pot, it just won't come out. All you have to do is take a knife or other pointed object and poke a very small hole in the bottom. Now you just have to tilt it and the entire contents will come out. There's only a very small amount left here at the top, but the cup itself is empty and you don't have to scoop it out. And 90% of the time, you've always opened pasta packets the wrong way. If you've simply torn them open from the side, or as you can see here, you know the problem that the bag is usually a bit broken afterwards. You can no longer close them properly, but it's much easier. Simply grab the pasta packaging and smash it with full force on one side on the table. As you can see in a moment, this will open the pasta along its entire length and the packaging won't tear any further. This means you can easily close it again at any time. By the way, did you know that there are 8 places where you should never use paper towels, as they do more harm than good? In the video you see on the screen now, I show you which places these are. Click directly on it.